Hello and welcome to my channel, Maryborn ND. Thank you for being here. Today it's Gardening with Granny, and it is mid-January in Michigan, and we have about 7 inches of snow on the ground. So there's not a whole lot of in-ground planting that's going to go on here in Michigan. And a couple of weeks ago, I did a video on finding out when you can start seeds, when you should plant them outside. And I gave you a couple of websites to look through, and I'll link that in the description below. But the main thing is you want to know what zone you're in, and that's pretty much for perennials. Annuals, it really doesn't matter what zone you're in. When it's warm, you plant the seeds or put the plants in as soon as you know that there's not going to be any frost or harm to the plants. But the main thing is that you create a calendar that you start from your last frost date, and that's week 1, and you move up. And so today we're in mid-January, and that leaves us at week 17. So then you look on your seed packets and see what the germination rate is, and from that, how many weeks you should plant before there's no frost, okay? So I find it simpler just to look on my calendar and, because you get anxious that you want to start seeds. And last year I started them so soon that it was like stressful for the last 3 weeks trying to keep my plants alive, up potting and doing all that. However, I did a couple of things that I want to repeat this year. And that's what this video is all about. So today we're going to talk about germination, stratification, and scarification. And those are all really simple, so don't let the terms get to you. Germination just simply means that it takes a certain amount of time for the inside of the seed to break forward and show itself, and that's called germination. So in germination, most of the time what you do is you moisten the soil, you plant your seeds. Sometimes the seed packet says it needs light to germinate, and then you probably will put a shallow layer of vermiculite over the top of it just to try and keep it moist, and cover it with a clear plastic cover. So it's really important to know what the back of the seed packet says and to follow those instructions. Now, some of the seeds, when you plant them in dirt, then you're just sort of like waiting for them to appear. But one method that I found to be really helpful is it's called scarification, but germination can be done the same way. So you take a paper towel. You don't need a whole paper towel unless you're doing an extremely large seed. And so basically, I don't like to waste. So I actually, if I have a very small seed, I only use, these are half sheets. So that's what I'm using. And what you want to do is you spray it liberally so the paper towel is wet. I'm going to take you down so you can see what I'm doing, and you don't need to see my face. So down here, I have a variety of seeds. And some of these seeds, like poppy, can be grown outside in the fall. You can scrape the ground and spread the seeds, and that's all you have to do, unless, of course, you're concerned about birds eating your seeds, which is a big concern for some people. But what you can do is in the winter time, you can, if it's not 2 degrees outside, when it's warmer, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to take the snow and I'm going to spread the snow out so I see the ground, sprinkle these seeds on the ground, and then put the snow back over it. And that's a form of cold stratification. And what will happen is the seed will get cold, it will get moist, and it will start to swell. And that's what breaks open that endosperm so that the seed can actually germinate. Now, seeds have all of the energy and nutrition they need to start to grow. But once they burst open and become a seedling, they need nutrition to go from that point on. So that's what the soil provides for them. And when you do cold stratification, once you see the seed germinate, you really should be putting some kind of nutrition on it. Now, some people will take a liquid fertilizer and spray it on the seedling. Other people will just take the seedling and put it in the soil at that point. So there's a variety of ways that you can do. So that now, why would you want to germinate in this manner? Well, there's some seeds that are old. You know, do you have old seeds? I have this seed packet I got from M.I. Gardner. It was a free seed packet, and there's a lot of lettuce seeds in it. So I want to know, are these viable? Should I bother even planting them? So we take our wet towel. I'm going to wet it just a little bit more. And then we take our seeds and we sprinkle them on half. So we've got a variety. Can you see what I'm doing? So we have a variety of seeds in this packet. Close it up. That's it. Now you want to keep it moist. So you can put it in a plastic bag to keep it moist. And of course, label it because, you know, you think, oh, I'll remember what that is. Nah, you really don't. So then the seeds look kind of like this. And you wait a couple of days and you see if they germinate. Now you can leave them out, which is what I want to do with these because I want to check their viability. And I have like 1,000 of these seeds. So I can check to see how many of these seeds will turn into seedlings out of the many that I have here. Then you can tell what your germination rate is. So I'm putting on here salad greens because this is a mixture. So there we have it. Now I'll just leave this out, and actually I will put it in the light because it really doesn't matter that this doesn't have to be in the dark because I want to put it someplace I'll remember to look. So that is the system of germination, and it's as simple as that. And you can do that with most any seed. So to find out what the germination rate is, especially if you've got old seeds and you want to know what they are. Now, there are some seeds that don't like to be disturbed. So you want to check to see. And some seeds, it's just like rooted vegetables. It just makes more sense just to put them in the ground. They don't like to be disturbed. Now you can test like a couple of carrot seeds and see what the germination rate is. But transplanting them is a kind of a tricky business. So that's what you can do. So you can spread the seeds in the fall and cover them up and actually just, lay them out there. You don't really even need to cover poppy seeds because actually poppies seed themselves. So anything that seeds itself is going to do well with that method. Now, there are some seeds that have a hard coating. And if you've ever like soaked beans overnight so that you can cook them in soup the next day, that's basically a method of scarification because you're making the endosperm soft enough that the seed can break through it. So that's basically if you have like a lima bean, you want to soak it, and then it will kind of like the skin will kind of shrivel a little bit, but then the inside swells, and at that point you can plant it, and it will do well. Another thing that you can do now, some people will actually put hot water over them and leave them sit. Other times, what you can do is just soak them and keep them in the refrigerator. And if it's in a dark place, that slows down the germination rate. And if it's cold, it slows down the germination rate. So if it's dark and cold, basically you can leave them in the refrigerator for a month and then take them out, check them, see how they're doing, and then you can plant them. Why would you do this? Okay, because sometimes like a seed will take a long time, sometimes up to 3 weeks to germinate in the ground. It depends on the temperature, how moist it is, a variety of reasons. Now, there's a lot of people that don't want to moisten their ground because they struggle with slugs and snails, and wet, moist ground just exacerbates that problem. So they can do this, make sure everything is growing, starting to grow, and then put them out. And yes, you have to keep them moist, but not as moist as when you're trying to soften the endosperm. So you can do that with beans. Now, last year I had really good success with my cup and saucer vine. I read that you need to scarify them in order for them to germinate. And what they recommend that you do, say the hidden experts, is to, I'm going to cut this in. The glue on this is pretty rough. There we go. So this is what, I'm going to take you down here. This is what the seed looks like. It's flat and pointed. And what I did was I took a nail clipper and clipped off just the very tip of that and soaked it in water. But don't you love it? I got those at the dollar store. But you can take an emery and just scuff it like that. And what that will do is take enough of that hard edge off that it'll break through. And then you can soak the seed in some water overnight, or can do like I did and just simply put them in a wet paper towel and put them in a Ziploc bag. And I would say within a week that seed germinated, and it did really well. I did not have it in a sunny enough spot for it to bloom proficiently, but in Michigan, we don't have, scorching hot sun. So I'm going to pick a different spot for it this year because I really do love them. I would love to see them really bloom. And I think by doing it this method, they will do that for me. So another thing that they talk about with scarification is nasturtium. So if you take the nasturtium seed, I'm going to put you down here again. They're hard and round and wrinkly. And so one of the methods they talk about is to soak it so that it will excuse me, soak it so that it will soften the endosperm, and then you can plant it. Some people just have really good luck with nasturtium by stick them in the moist soil and they grow well. So it depends. I'm going to try both methods and see which one works best for me. But I love nasturtium. Last year I had a variegated. Oh, it was spectacular, hanging off the corner of one of my raised beds. I had some growing in my green stock that I soon realized were trailing. So I had to take them from there, and they trailed 12 feet. Unbelievable. And I had them in where my roses are, and they just looked lovely. And unfortunately, where that is, that particular area doesn't get any water, and I have to intentionally go down there and water it. And so anything I can get to grow spectacularly, I'm all for it. So I'm definitely going to try again. I saved some seeds. I'm going to see how they do in this method as well. Another one that is recommended to do not necessarily scarification, but to stratify. And, stratify simply means to soak it in water, and a variety of ways you can put it in the baggie, stick it in your vegetable drawer, and hide it away for for a month or two. Or you can keep an eye on it and look for germination if you're interested in getting results to see how well they're doing. So there's several different ways. Another one that I plan on doing is the sweet pea. Oh, so loved these sweet peas last year. And this is a packet that had some left over from last year. And so I want to see what the germination rate is going to be. So I will be soaking these and putting them in a baggie and checking to see how well they do. So if you want to keep track of how my seeds are doing under the different germination and stratification and scarification methods that I use, just keep in touch. I hope that you will try one of the 2 or 3 of these methods, and let me know in the comment below how it's working for you. If you have any questions, there are lots of videos that will go in depth in these seed starting, and M.I. Gardner had one out not too long ago. And so you can Google stratification or seed germination and get some very good information and help you to understand this a little better. This was sort of like a little taste because, mid-January. We gardeners, we got to find ways to garden. So for from Gardening with Granny, I wish you the best. Hope you can get out in your garden and enjoy. I'm actually enjoying the winter snow just looking at it. I don't have to be in it. So goodbye for now, and thank you for watching.